This video is an introduction to the Global Search Module in SHS 1.3. When you first open SHS, you come into the repertory module. And if you come over here to the left side, the icon palette over here on the left, you see the closed book icon is highlighted. That represents the repertory module. If you come down to the magnifying glass and click on that, this is the search, the global search module. Now, it's completely empty right now because we have not triggered a search. Up here in the type to search window at the very top here, where it says search in repertory and reference library, this is the global search window right next to that. And once you've put some terms in, let's put fear, dark, and in order to activate this search, I'm going to hit my return key. If you're on a Windows computer, that would be the enter key. You can also come over here and click this magnifying glass icon. So I'll go ahead and do that. And now you see that the global search module window has populated with the result. And so let's make it bigger. You can size your windows. Going to go ahead and make that bigger. And now you see that here's the tab, Fear 1 Dark. I'll explain what that 1 means momentarily. And every single book here is a repertory because you're on the repertories tab. This is the result from searching in the repertories. You have repertory ticked up here in search in, and so you're going to have a repertory tab if it's applicable, if your search result actually is simple enough to look for rubrics. So the reliable mind chapter, and there's the big rubric, Fear of the Dark, that probably is the one that you would want to take to your clipboard. But there's some other choices here that you can look at under the reliable mind chapter. You can also go to any of these other books, and they will also have a result. Here, I have a result in the Complete 2020, and you'll see it's the Mind chapter is highlighted here. There's also something in the Vision chapter, and you can click on that in order to see what it is. But any of these other books also have a result in the Repertory tab. Let's say, though, that you want to see what Materia Medica result you got, because as you know, you're searching in repertories as well as reference library. So in order to see that, you click over to the Reference Library tab, and now you're looking at the result of all the reference materials that have fear within one word of dark. And you see the result here, 185 remedies, 532 references. Each one of these lines here represents one of those 532 references. The references are listed over here. This is the Complete 19 reversed. This would be another book, and if you're not sure what the book is, very easily you can just double click and you're taken to that book in your reference library. You'll notice here over here on the icons palette on the left side, we're in the open book icon is highlighted. We're in the reference library, and so that DES abbreviation is short for DESIZE. DESIZE Magnificent Plants. To get right back to your search, just click on this magnifying glass on the icons palette again. And you can single click. If you noticed when I single click, you get a little blurb that pops up. And if that's enough, then you can just continue on looking through your result just at the one line, and anything that you're interested in, you can just click on that line. Some of them are reversed repertories, so they don't give you very much, but let's find one that does give you a little bit more. There you go. You get the pop-up window with the single click. You get the transfer to the reference library to see the entire reference with a double click. And you'll see over here, you'll see all the remedies that came up in that search query over here in the left pane, and they're listed alphabetically. The section is listed, and again, as I showed you before, the books are listed here in the left pane. The right pane is the single line, the highlighting of the search terms, and again, you can single click or double click to take you to the reference. And to get right back to your search, here I am in reference library. I double clicked, and I double clicked on the line that was from Murphy's Materia Medica. To get back, I'm going to click on the magnifying glass. If you want to go straight to a remedy, see if a remedy is in the result, that's 185. You don't have to scroll through all the remedies. You can simply type the abbreviation, hit return or enter, and then that remedy comes up if it's there in the search result. And to get back to your entire list, you would simply click on the X. You can do the same thing with section. I clicked on the name section, and you see this little tick mark, this little arrow came under the section name, and now I can search mind and only be looking at the result in mind. You can do the same thing with books. You have to empty the type to search, and now you're looking at all of the results from this size. And again, to empty, to get back to your entire list, click on the X in this type to search window in the left pane. Now, what does Fear 1 Dark mean? That means that your program looked for the words fear and dark within one word of each other. So basically put together. And you can see in the result here, the words fear and dark are next to each other. Not counting smaller words, such as the pronouns, the prepositions, that sort of thing. You can expand your search by increasing the distance between your search terms. So if we were to say fear within 5 words of dark, I put a 5 between those search terms by clicking the 5 on my keyboard. You can also come over here, this icon here called Add Proximity. Click that. And if I had come down here and put within 5 words, that also would have put the 5 between the 2 search terms. And let's see what kind of result we get with this. I'm going to hit a plus sign now because I want to keep this search. I want to keep the search that has the space of 1 between the search terms. So I'm not going to hit the magnifying glass or return. I'm going to hit the plus on my global search window, and it's going to open this search in a new tab. And we're going to hop over to the reference library. And now you can see that many more remedies came up because we allowed the program to look at those 2 terms, fear and dark, where they're further spread apart. They have more words between them. Fear within 5 words of dark is what we allowed the program to search for. The other things that you can use over here with the proximity language, if you noticed, there's an or. By the way, next to is 1 space. It's just the 1 space as we did in this first tab over here. Fear, 1 space, dark is the same as next to. Or would be if, for instance, you wanted to use a synonym. And so or is also the / on your keyboard. I'm going to back up, and I'm going to use the proximity language so that you'll see they're the very same thing. And let's say you wanted to say fear within 5 words of dark or night. and then activate this. Again, I'll do it in a new tab. And so the result came up where you actually have not just fear of dark, but fear of night as well. You have both those terms coming up in your search result. And if you come over to reference library, now you have even more remedies because you've expanded the search even more since you've allowed the program to also look for night. So you can see here, fear night, as well as fear dark. Both of the terms come up. Let's go back over to proximity. You also have the option to look in the same sentence for something, look in the same paragraph, and keeping in mind your materia medica. So anytime you use this proximity language, that means you want the program to look for a certain thing within the same sentence of another thing, or within the same paragraph, which would expand the search even more. In the same section would expand it even more in the same remedy. So let's empty the type to search window, and I'm going to put fear within 3 words of dark, and I'm going to say in the same section as asthma. And so what that's going to do is probably we're going to find in our result fear of the dark, which will obviously be a mind chapter, but we want to see if asthma comes up related to mind. Let's go ahead and click on the open in a new tab. And you see that it hopped right to the reference library tab. And that's because when you have the complex proximity language up here in Global Search Window, you're not going to have a rubric that comes up as a result. These are 2 very separate things, and there are no rubrics that apply. So fear in the dark, asthma in the same section. And you'll see here, the general section is the one that's come up. I'm going to actually look and see if mind. So the general section and the mind section are the 2 sections that have come up here. And that's kind of what we wanted to do. We wanted to hone in on fear of the dark and asthmatic related mind symptoms. Anxiety, asthmatic, anxiety with asthmatic complaints certainly should be in the mind chapter. And so this is what we wanted. Now, to take this query to a clipboard, you can do so. It's 83 remedies. And that's a nice number for a rubric. All you have to do to take your query result in reference library to a clipboard is come over here to the right side, click on this clipboard with a plus sign, and it went on the clipboard that I already had open here on the left. You can open a new clipboard and add the search query to a new clipboard. I simply clicked on the last of the icons, not counting these clipboards, last of the icons on the icon palette, clicked it to open a new clipboard. You can open as many as 20 clipboards. Each time you click on this, it will open a new one, and the highlighted clipboard is the active one. So I'm going to click on this now again, and that reference library search went on to clipboard number 3 because it was active. And you can put repertory rubrics on the same clipboard as reference library queries. You can see it says here, reference library search. This tells you it came from a reference library search. The rubrics will tell you, I'm going to go into the repertories of Fear Dark. I'll go ahead and take this to that clipboard by highlighting it and hitting return on my keyboard. And now you see this is how the repertory rubrics look on a clipboard as opposed to the reference library searches. What are these other icons over here? I'm going to close my clipboard by clicking on the X. This is the history icon, and it will show you all the history of the search terms that you have done. This is to look for related words and synonyms. So I've positioned my cursor after asthma. I come over here to related words and synonyms. And you didn't see any synonyms, but you do see some related words. The question mark will show you information about this particular module in the manual. You just click here and the global search section of the manual comes up. And this icon here is the filtering icon. You can do a lot of filtering in global search. You can filter by, and you have to select, do I want to filter in the repertories, in which case you tick here, or do I want to filter in reference library, in which case you tick here. If reference library is your choice, you have the option to filter in books, kingdom, remedy, section, or category. If you want to filter in repertories, you have the option to filter in repertories, author, kingdom, remedy, or section. And I'll just show you, let's say you wanted to filter for a few remedies. You select the remedy tab here. You find your remedies. One trick to quickly go to the remedy that's like the main remedy in a group is to put the period after the abbreviation, then you go right to it. Let's say you wanted to look for more than one remedy. I'll put aconite in here and I'll put stramonium. There it is. Tick the ones as you find them. I'm going to empty the type to search window. I can click on this eye icon and verify that I do have both of those remedies that I wanted. And once you've verified, you click apply. Now that the filter is placed, this icon has turned purple. And as long as it's purple, that means the filter is on. And I'm going to empty this type to search window because if you remember, I said that the more complex searches with all the proximity language don't show up in the repertory search. So I'm going to empty this and I'm going to just put fear dark because I know that that will show up in repertories. But remember, I've filtered for those two remedies, aconite and stramonium. I'm going to activate my search by clicking the plus sign so it will open in a new tab. And now you can see I'm looking at those two remedies only. And in any one of these books, you're going to only be looking at those two remedies because you have filtered for them. To turn off the filter, you click on this purple icon that says clear the applied filter. When you hover on the hover the mouse on it, click it, it turns blue. Now your filter is gone. And filtering, you can do choose any of the filtering here, depending on if you want to approach it from the kingdom standpoint, if you want to approach it from repertories or reference library. And I just want to tell you that reference library, this category, relates to over here in reference library, it relates to these categories here. And if you've created some categories, they will show up as well. You'll see right here, I've created a few categories and there they are. These are the two that I had created myself. Okay. Now, there's another way to very quickly filter. If you have just one thing you want to filter for, let's say we only wanted to look for the one remedy, stramonium. And so you can do it up here. You just type it in the type to search window, and you see this drop-down menu that has popped up a few times. This is when you really want to pay attention to this drop-down menu. You want to go and you want to grab where it says stramonium remedy. Grab that by clicking on it. It's turned that word up in the global search window blue. I'm going to now activate this search. And now that's the only remedy that you're seeing on both sides. When you do a quick filter up here in Global Search, you get the filter to work in repertories as well as Reference Library tab. You can see here on the far left in the left pane, stramonium is the only remedy because the filter that you place up here, which is just one thing that you're filtering for, filters in both repertory tab and reference library. It's when you have something more complex, maybe you want multiple remedies or you want multiple kingdoms, you want multiple books, that's when it's best to come over here and use this. So that's the quick introduction to SHS 1.3 Global Search. Thank you.